So in this session we're going to have a look at bike setup to make sure it fits you, you're comfortable and safe whilst you're riding it. Just going to have a look here at the cockpit area, most importantly at the controls. We did on our M check a quick move around to make sure that there was no play in them, which is quite important for us. But we now need just to consider what angle we want these brake levers to be at. So if we think about it, we're trying to get a nice straight line through our wrists into our hand to comfortably reach the levers. As we start to go over rougher terrain, what you'll find is you need to be in a nice strong position to absorb anything that's coming through. So if my levers are too high, very quickly my wrist starts to drop and it puts me in quite a weak position on the bike. And likewise, if my levers are too low, already you can see my weight starting to shift forward. If there's a danger, I start to go forward over the bars should I hit anything. We advise standing up in the ready position, which is something we'll talk about when we actually get you moving, with a nice straight line through your arms, through your wrists, onto the lever. One other thing we talk about as well is just making sure the lever, the reach of a lever is right for you. So we can adjust how far away they are from the bars. Normally there's an Allen key. This one's actually got an adapter here that allows us to move it around. But we're also trying to look how far inboard the levers go to. All hydraulic systems are really quite efficient. And we've moved away from V-brakes where we had to pull on with 2 or 3 fingers to get any resistance. Getting as much leverage as we can by pulling on the end with 1 finger. If we put 2 fingers on, we're actually not holding onto the bike very well because we're using these 2 outer fingers and our thumb to grip. And a nice way to think about this is if you just hold onto your wrist and lift 1 finger up and try and pull away, it's actually relatively hard. But now if I bring 2 fingers up, imagining these are now on the brake, and I try and pull away, it's very, very easy. So I'd far rather have control of the bike by holding on here and putting 1 finger on the brake. I know the brakes are going to work and I've got a nice stable position to manage the bike as it's moving around. So the next thing we're going to look at now is bike fitting. I'm going to ask Ed to step onto the bike now. Stepping over, we should have a nice comfortable gap between his groin and the top tube. Now with the saddle up, Ed's going to sit onto the bike. Have a look at how I'm holding the bike now in between my 2 knees. It means I don't have to touch the saddle and it's nice and safe for Ed as well. So we're looking for almost a straight line at the bottom of the pedal stroke, and the way we can get this right is I'm going to ask Ed to put his heel on the pedal at the bottom of the pedal stroke, and we should have quite a straight leg now. So when he then brings his foot backwards and puts the ball of his toe on the pedal, you can see this slight bend, about 20 degrees is what they talk about. All I'm going to ask him to do now is just pedal backwards. And it's the same range of movement that we would have if we were pedaling forwards, and I'm looking to make sure there's no rotation in his hips, which is good. And that's a comfortable starting point to work out saddle height. In terms of reach, we're looking as well now for roughly a right angle between his torso and his arms, and again that's telling me that's about right. These are starting points, no more than that. We start from somewhere and then find somewhere that's comfortable for us based on our bodies and our own dynamics. So the final point of just making sure the bike fits is looking at the saddle angle, and ideally we're looking for something nice and flat. If you're female, just try dropping the nose of the saddle by a couple of degrees, and if you suffer from a bad back, that can help you as well.